hard a deal as you've had to deal with health-wise?
That's one of those injuries that's very painful, but you just have to be able to put your mind in another place and try to do the best for your team and just try to recover. I think at this level, you just got to know how to recover, take care of your body, and that's kind of what I've been doing the whole time.
Michael, how have you seen Sheldon kind of become more comfortable in the defense over his first however many games?
I think Sheldon's done a really good job. I think he he played in a 3-4 defense, which is a harder defense, to a different type of defense, and now he went from playing on the line to being a penetrating three technique, and it was a good transition. He's done a lot of great stuff for us as far as making fumbles, making a lot of tackles, and doing something different than we've had in a long time at that position. I think he is something that the organization's been looking for a minute, a three technique who can get to the quarterback, a three technique who can penetrate in the run game, and I think he's done a great job. He's different from the Taba Rubin. Taba Rubin was a great three technique for us, and so was Tony McDaniels, but I think Sheldon has done a good job of just being able to have those hustle plays and be able to affect the quarterback.
Not having Cliff Averill, how has that been different for you on and off?
I think it's really hard. I think you in this league you come in and it's hard to build relationships with people, but I think the relationship that me and Cliff have is a family type relationship. We're really close as brothers, and so not to have him out there on the football field is always devastating. But to see what he's going through personally, that's more devastating because a lot of times fans aren't connected to the injury part of the game. They're more connected to whether their fantasy league points are up high or their fantasy league points are low. And when guys are really injured for life-altering injuries. Now we're not talking about like Achilles or ACL. We're talking about neck injuries, and those injuries are type of injuries that can last forever. So those are the type of injuries that fans don't understand or what you go through personally. And so for him and me and the rest of the guys, it's a personal journey that we're going through with him as he goes through it. And so and making sure that he has a lot of people who care about him. And this is a great organization that continuously shows that they care about their injured players, and unlike most teams in the NFL. So I think it's just one of those things.
The devastating part is it the fact that he may never play again?
I think that's too. I think it's one of those things where you want to be able to walk away from the game the way you want to walk away from the game, and to suffer an injury of any magnitude, especially one of that one where you could have easily been paralyzed. It's something that you have to be able to try to move forward past, and I think it's a hard thing to do. So it's always devastating to lose a guy and not know his future. His future is uncertain, and nobody knows what's going to happen. And for me, I take that personal. So so that's just hard.
You've been able to talk to him the last couple of days since he's had surgery?
I talk to Cliff every day. Every time I was making fun of him when he got that surgery, but we're brothers. Sent him some good gifts in the hospital. So, like I said, injuries are a part of the game, but doesn't make it easier to accept. So I think that's something that we have to be able to care for our people.
You mentioned that it's hard to build relationships in this league. Bobby yesterday said that it's the relationships in that locker room that make the defense work so well.
I think so.
Just go to speak to how unique this group is?
I think so. I think unique. I think for me, it's never been. I don't remember all the games. I remember the relationships that I've, came a part of. Whether it was Big Red, Me Bane, Kevin Williams, Dwight Freeney. Those are the memories that I want to take with me, because trophies they fade away, but the relationships are something that you keep forever. So the relationships that you build in that locker room are some that will, because you went through an experience that most people in America could never really understand. So to have those relationships is what makes this team unique and what makes our relationships with each other unique, because we're humbled and we're grateful for every time we get to see each other. And that's trying to live in that now is a very hard thing for people to do, and so we continuously try to stress that when we're here.
Mike, the Players Coalition has made some progress with the NFL towards getting a deal, but there's also kind of a fracture on that side, and I wonder where you line up with continuing on with negotiations or staying apart from it.
I think you continuously try to do something, because ultimately it's about the people and find a way to make this platform a great platform. I think as a player, you grow up in the inner cities and you play football for a couple of reasons. You want to find a way to have a good foundation. You want to find a way to be a better citizen. You want to find a way for your high school coaches, maybe a father figure. And somewhere along that journey, you kind of lose that when you start to get to the NFL. So we want to continuously build that bridge to make sure that those young people that we not only do we want to show that we score touchdowns and do all these great things on the field, but also show what we can be as men in the communities and for our young women and our young men who look up to us as role models and heroes. So for us is trying to find a way to continuously work with Roger and the rest of the guys and figuring out how we can make something happen as a league to show that as a whole shield in this NFL that what we can do is not only for monetarily, but what we can do within our communities. And
Are you supporting Jenkins' position in this?
I support every guy. I think of course I support him. I want him to be able to get something done. I also support Eric. I think both of these guys are very good leaders, and they both have showed what they mean to this or mean to their individual city. So to be able to continuously push forward is something that I think is important.
How do you view the NFL's offer of $100 million to social causes?
I think it's. I mean, I don't know if it's really $100 million, but I think it's a great gesture to wanting to even do something. I think most organizations aren't trying to find ways to give back, but I guess this is something that the players really want, and the players really want to be a part of, and I think the ownership wants to too. So we're just finding a way to do it.
What do you mean you're not sure it's $100 million?
I didn't see the whole proposal or whatever.
What are your thoughts on the My Cleats initiative?
I think it's a great thing. I think it shows what our passions are outside of sports. I think sometimes as an athlete, people see you as just this one way, one side. They see you as a character, so they never get to really know that character. And then finally, you get a chance to know what we're passionate about and what we really care about and what affects us on a daily basis and what we want to bring our awareness to and finding a way to, bring people there or raise money for it. And I think that's super important for us as individuals and also for us as beacons of light for young people who are looking up to us. And to show them that not only that we're on the field, but these are the causes that we care about. So I think it's a good way to show the fans and show people what we're really about as human beings.
You're involved in a lot of causes. How'd you choose?
I chose the POWs. I was just watching PBS and it had a big special on it, and I just kind of was learning a lot about POWs and learning about the Vietnam War and a whole bunch of people. Then I started researching, and then so I just wanted to bring awareness to that issue. I think it's an issue that people don't really know about, like how many people are missing or whether it's the. And so for me, that was just a really cool thing to want to do. So I thought that would be a really good thing to do. I could have just brought my own foundation or something, but kind of always want to make it about somebody else and not really myself, and finding a way to highlight those people. And so I've got a lot of letters from different peoples and from people's family who've been through, whether it was missing in action or they were prisoners of war. So there's some really great letters I've read. I got in contact with some people, and it's just been pretty special to be able to, people, they think that they write you a letter, and then when you call them, they're so surprised. And so you want to be able to be able to show them that you care and that it's cool that they listen and that I'm listening to them too. So that's really good.
What have those conversations been like?
Oh, it's just because a lot of letters, I read the letters of what they've been through, their family's been through. So it's an emotional conversation for that person and me too, to hear them when I call for them to start crying or to be able to, talk to them about what happened to their family or what they're going through, and to be able to bring them to the game this weekend is always cool.
How did they come up with the design for the shoes?
Oh, I talked to the designer. He's a really cool designer, and he just made a really cool shoe.
When it comes to game prep at this time of the year, you know what Carson Wentz has done and what the Eagles have done, but because there's so much film out there by the time you get to December, does any of that change? Does any of the preparation change?
No, I think you prepare every week exactly the same. I think you don't overdo it. I don't think you don't underdo it. You stay the course and you continuously do what you've been doing. And for this week, we're playing against a really good team. I think Carson Wentz is having a great season. LeGarrette Blount is a great back. Jay Ajayi is a really good back. Zach Ertz is scoring a lot of touchdowns. So, and it's a really good offensive line. So, we just continuously watch what they do. Their coach is a great coach. He has a lot of different plays that he likes to do. And so for us, it's just, being able to continuously research what they're doing and how they do it.
Who would you say you're bringing to the game this weekend?
Oh, one of the families, yeah.
Looking at Wentz, how have you seen him develop since you guys faced him last year?
I think I didn't get to play against him last year because I was injured, but seeing him out there, he's done a lot of great things. I think he's very poised in the pocket. He has a escapability. I think a lot of times people in the draft didn't understand. You picking a guy from not D1 college, and this guy he has this escapability and his canny ability to be able to throw under pressure. And I think he's a really good quarterback, and his running ability is something that I really like. I think it's really cool to see a quarterback move like that in the pocket, and he's just a really good quarterback.
What challenge does their running game present? The number of backs that they can throw out there, and what is it that they do well with?
I think they run. I think it's they just got really good backs. I think LeGarrette Blount led the league in touchdowns last year as a running back, so he's very powerful. Jared Jai had, three or four 200 yards rushing games, so he's able to bust out of the pocket, bust out of there at any moment. So they have a lot of weapons. I think they just stay the course, and they got good vision when it comes to running the ball.
Anything else?